You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
And to kick off the show for his third appearance on the William Huckabee Round Tour of all Angry Marks podcasts, it's the Incredible Huck.
What's going on? I'm adding like a list of monikers since the last time I've been on this show, actually.
Well, I know you told me you don't want to be the Morning Star anymore, so I went with the Incredible Huck, but what other ones should I be using?
I am the disrespectful intellectual, the Mid-Atlantic bully, the Incredible Huck. And every once in a while, I'll still let people call me the Morning Star. But yeah, I'm also going with Nacho Negro and the Heavyweight High Flyer.
I like all of those, especially Heavyweight High Flyer. I think that describes your style pretty well. But for those who don't know, this is indeed his third appearance because he was co-hosting the Raw Reaction with Big Vic on Monday and holding it down on the Wrestling Nerdcast on Tuesday with two big guests.
Yes, man. It was a really great show. I had a buddy of mine that actually started training with me. He started training a week before I did. So I had him on the show and stuff to get his opinion on all the craziness and all the drama that was social media this weekend. And then I had a really fun, great interview with a promoter and a booker and a wrestling coach, Josh Gary, who runs a training school here in North Carolina. But a lot of time he's traveling the East Coast so much and stuff, helping out at Ring of Honor and Evolve and FIP and things like that, you know what I'm saying? The Monster Factory, that he basically had to close the school down because he was just traveling so much on the road as a coach.
Yeah, staying busy. So yeah, you got Josh Gary and Sean Savage, if that's the correct names. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Bobby Savage.
Bobby Savage.
Why did I say
Sean Savage? Yeah, I knew he was Savage. I knew that much.
The alliteration. That's what it is.
Speaking of Savage, if I don't introduce the other co-hosts, they might get Savage with me, so let me go ahead and introduce Abby.
Why do you use Savage with me? I swear to God, it's been Be Mean to Abby week, and I have just not gotten the memo.
I'm just saying you'll be savage to us if we're not nice to you. I'm not saying you are a savage.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing
this is my second podcast of the night, so.
Yeah, like William Huckabee here, you're putting in overtime, so kudos to that. And, of course, Top Rope Press will be where we can check out the other show.
Yes, I'll be on Top Rope Nation's show, which should come out either later tonight or in the morning.
That's probably the timetable for this show as well, depending on when our wonderful producer, Kelly Kev, is able to put this show to bed. But before he can do that, I have to introduce the third co-host, which is the great Sudoku Jason Harland.
Arms held out in your Jesus Christ pose, bones enshroud like it's the coming of the Lord. And I swear to you, I would never feed you pain. Rest in peace, Chris Cornell.
Are you trying to depress me right at the start of the show? I was in a good mood, and now you made me sad.
I just grew up with Soundgarden, and they were the band I listened to when I was in high school. I just couldn't let it go without my little tribute to Chris Cornell there.
I've literally been listening to Chris Cornell for 25 years, because between Soundgarden and his solo albums and Audioslave, that man, when I wasn't listening to hip-hop, I was listening to him, because I had college radio DJ buddies who introduced me to him, and quite honestly, even though I'm a hip-hop guy first and foremost, Chris Cornell's voice was unbelievable. He was such an amazing singer, I couldn't help but fall in love.
He had almost as good a range as Bruce Dickinson. He really was dynamic in his range.
He was, and it just floored me this morning when I got the news, and the first thing I thought of was, this is going to be a wrestling tie-in, because Be Yourself was one of the theme songs for WrestleMania 26, so I knew I was going to have to write about it, and I didn't want to because I was depressed, but I sucked it up and wrote about it anyway.
That's actually, I got up this morning to watch Best of the Super Juniors, and I see Chris Cornell's death trending on Twitter. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
no.
My first post on Facebook this morning was, it's official now, 2017 can go to hell.
We were saying that about 2016, too.
Yeah, well,
we were.
It's not getting any better. But at least the Super Juniors is getting things on the right track for us. Even if all our favorite singers and actors are dying, at least we got some good matches to talk about.
And they all involve Marty Scurll. And none of
And they
them
don't.
involve Tai
None of
Chi.
them involve Tai Chi. Thank you. You beat me to it.
Can we address that 300-pound elephant in the room?
Yeah, why don't you? Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Taka Michinoku versus Tai Chi today. This was
hell.
less a wrestling match and more a cancer on the anus of professional wrestling.
That was not a match. That was not a match. That was a fucking joke.
I kind of say that about most things Tai Chi does.
I actually enjoyed that match. I thought it was very entertaining. I liked it. But once again, I'm a wrestler, so like any match where you don't have to take really that many bumps and stuff, and you still get the crowd involved, works for me. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome how they kind of had offense but didn't have offense. And then he kind of faked a knee injury or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and got the real quick roll up. I thought it was pretty cool.
They both faked injuries, and it took them like 6 hours to finally lock up, and then one bailed out of the ring and the other bailed out of the ring, and
yeah, Taka was the first one to hit a strike with kicking, the middle rope up into the balls that maybe Tai Chi has, but, I'm not really sure he does.
Honestly, if I want to see somebody have offense with no offense, I'll watch Minoru Suzuki put somebody in an arm hold or a knee bar.
That's offense.
Oh, no.
It's offense without doing anything offensive. He can land those for like 5 minutes and sell.
That's another thing. For two guys in Suzuki-gun to be in the ring that long and not be fighting, Suzuki should have came out and pile-driven both of them.
Amen.
But he didn't have time to waste on Tai Chi and Taka.
But at the same time, the crowd was into it the entire time. Like, isn't that what wrestling is about? Like, entertaining the fans? It sounded like the fans were really into it.
No, wrestling is about wrestling. And there was no wrestling.
Wrestling is about...
Prophetic words of the great Sudoku. Wrestling is about wrestling. We're going to put that on a
wrestling.
I'd like to print money with that T-shirt.
Wrestling is about wrestling, and this was completely devoid of wrestling. This was worse than Volador Jr. versus Beretta last year, and that was a stink fest.
I think with all the stuff that happened, with all the social media wildfire that was spread with Rip Rogers' tweet and Randy Orton and Bully Ray and Low Key and everybody else, I thought that match was a good example of what happens. Like, okay, well, we won't dive and we won't do headlocks and we won't hit 15,000 finishers and stuff. We'll just do this and see if it can get over.
Yeah, this is what happens when you go too far the other way, and it really sucks.
But I think the whole point of it was we're in the same faction. We don't want to fight. So that's the story. The story there is we don't want to fight because we are Suzuki-gun. We are brothers in this army. We're not going to fight. And Tai Chi does his shit and Taka starts getting more and more agitated with him. And I think that was the story of it. It was just
a better storyline
not good.
Like this in the G1 with Bad Luck Fale and AJ Styles as members of Bullet Club, where Fale was supposed to lay down for AJ. It looked like he was going to do it, and then he pops up. You can do a good interfaction tension angle and actually have some wrestling involved with it.
Or you can do it like they're doing tomorrow night at Bellator in London because they've got the two best light heavyweights in all of Britain fighting each other, and they're friends, and they don't necessarily hate each other or have any animosity, but the only way you can find out who is the best is to have one of them win.
This was a comedy match with no comedy. This drained my soul. This was horrible.
Well, at least one person on the show tonight liked it, so go ahead, Abby.
I mean, the thing is, if we didn't hate Tai Chi, we might appreciate it, but we hate Tai Chi, so.
Why do we hate Tai Chi? Okay, I'm going to ask that.
Why the human equivalent of scummy, slimy scuzz. Okay, he cheated on his wife. He got thrown out in the public, damn near got fired, got suspended, got his pay cut in half, and then turned that into a character.
Because wrestling imitates life. I feel like now that I'm the anti-Abby. Like, everything that she basically dislikes, I like. Which, Abby, I'm starting to think that that's why Stevie J asked for me to be on the show, is because he knows that everything that you dislike, I'm probably going to like.
Well, I mean, the thing is, 99.9% of the time I'm sarcastic and snarky, but Tai Chi is one of those things that it's like, I mean, that's like, and I had to admit this several times last week, I actually like Tanahashi, okay? I do. I just like making fun of his ponytail more. But Tai Chi's one of those guys, I mean, who took a situation that was where he was just a lying, slimy rat bastard and got his ass in a sling for it and turned it into a character. And he's just somebody that's just not real. He has the potential to be good again, but he got hit by a car. He suffered an injury. He went through all that personal crap. And now he's just kind of phoning it in and coasting. And between the personal stuff and the fact that he just doesn't even really bother, I just don't like him. You know, he's just not a good person, and he's not a good wrestler. So I'm not going to like what he does.
Well, that's the same way I feel about Randy Orton, if it makes you feel any better. The same way you feel about Tai Chi is the same way I feel about Randy Orton.
Oh, he's just walking scum, too.
You know, being a veteran and stuff and doing 2 tours of combat, I have no respect for anybody who is labeled a deserter and then has like such an attitude of self-importance and such an ego. You know,
oh yeah, I read the feature piece on all that
wrestling
shit.
aside, like I could like Randy Orton could save an orphanage of burning children by himself, and I would still think he's one of the lowest forms of people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And see, there's where I become the anti-Abby and the anti-William Huckabee, because I can put all of that aside.
You wrong. So just stand over there in your wrongness and be wrong and get used to it.
Well, let me be wrong by letting me finish my thought then, because the point is, I don't think he's a nice guy or a decent human being or an honorable member of our armed forces, but when it comes to actually working a solid match that I can find entertaining, he's damn good at it.
Sometimes.
When he wants to be.
Other times, he just phones it in.
He doesn't phone it in damn near as much as Tai Chi does.
Wrestling is all about wrestling.
There we go. We brought it full circle.
Maybe I just like Tai Chi because his valet is pretty sexy. And
well,
I'm not
Miho is
attracted.
the only good thing about Tai Chi.
I'm about to say, maybe just because she's so sexy is why I like him.
Miho is the only good thing.
When your valet is more entertaining than you are, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
All right, well, why don't we talk about the rest of the card instead of just focusing on Tai Chi for the entire podcast?
Okay, I'm going to keep it a little bit broad for now, but yeah, I want to talk about kind of the biggest surprise, I think, thus far of the best of the Super Juniors, and that is ACH. My God, has this guy gotten over with the New Japan crowd?
I told you. I did say he was going to go out there and tear this shit up.
Yeah, he and Marty have done it, very well.
Yeah, the crowd's taken to Marty too, but yeah, ACH has kind of turned his emotions up to 11. He could settle for 9, but he's kind of at 11, and the Japanese fans are just eating it up and loving it. He had a great match with Bushi, a B-block match in the opening night.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it'd be hard for me to imagine the two of them having a bad match with each other, but they definitely did not.
I didn't really like it. I thought it was kind of... No,
okay, now you're the anti-Stevie Jakes. Well, you didn't like
No, I mean, it didn't really click for me. I don't know why, but it was one of those where, I mean, there were some moments in the match that clicked for me, but the match as a whole, compared to other matches on night 1, really didn't click.
Okay.
I don't know why. It just didn't.
Yeah, it's like, once again, I felt Bolador, on night 1, I felt Bolador Jr. hadn't quite found his rhythm yet. He kind of had that problem last year in Best of the Super Juniors. He wrestled with Tiger Mask in night 1, and it just really lacked any kind of flow, any kind of cohesion, and sadly that's what I've come to expect from Bolador Jr. in Best of the Super Juniors. You know, maybe he'll warm up after a few matches, but this is just kind of reminiscent of what happened with Beretta last year in the worst match of the 2016 Best of the Super Juniors.
Okay, so I'm always, of course, ACH is a friend of mine, and I love the fact that he's gotten over. He was one of the guys, like, when they announced the participants for the Super J, that I was surprised that they actually booked him for the Best of the Super Junior tournament, just because he's been in Japan a little bit over the past year, but not a whole lot. As far as I know, he hasn't competed on, like, any New Japan shows, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Just as Tiger the Dark. Not as
he
ACH,
wrestled as
but
Tiger
as
the Dark at Wrestle Kingdom, and he did a stint in Noah.
Yeah, that's what it is. So I was very surprised that they booked him. I'm happy that he's gotten over so well. And Abby, just to let you know, I actually watched night 1 and night 2. I watched both complete shows in Japanese, no English commentary whatsoever.
Good.
That's
because there wasn't any English commentary. But
on a real quick note, if I can interject, former co-host Rowan Unruh actually sent me a message, and he's like, "Where's the English commentary?" And I was like, "Dude, don't worry about it for these shows. You're not going to find it, and you're not going to need it."
Best of the Super Juniors is not for a U.S. crowd.
No.
Yeah, it's for people like me in the U.S. It's for people like me who like the high-flying cruiserweight action. It's for a select few in the U.S.
I told him if you're going to get English commentary, it'll be for the finals. Until then, just take whatever you get.
Me myself, I didn't like the Will Ospreay Marty Scurll match. Well, it's not that I didn't like
it.
I like that.
And let me explain myself. It's not that I didn't like it.
Explain, please.
It's because I've seen them wrestle several times in English promotions, in a couple of indie shows and stuff here in the States. So I'm used to seeing what they do with each other, and they didn't give me anything different than what I've always seen.
Thank you. That is how I felt about it too. I've seen the match 100 times.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think on this stage right here, this is Marty's first time on a stage this big with Will Ospreay and stuff, and this is only Will Ospreay's second time in the Best of the Super Juniors. I figured they would have turned it up and tried to think outside the box and take some more risks. And to me, it just felt like it was a very safe match that they were probably in the back like, okay, we'll do this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot. And I think that you guys know what I'm talking about. When guys work with each other so much, they can kind of like, oh, you want to do that thing we did, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll do this spot right here, throw in a little bit of this bullshit, and then bam, take it home. That's exactly how that match felt to me.
I don't know.
They
For
get
me, I had the
opposite. Complacent.
I had the opposite take on it. I had the familiarity breeds contempt take on it because they know each other so well that every time they work together, I'm always convinced they hate each other's guts. I always buy into it, especially when Marty Scurll gives interviews like, I live to ruin Will Ospreay's day. Everywhere he goes, I beat him. I get invested in the story.
It's like because they worked each other so much, they had a good flow and a good cohesion to the match, and it was moving at a pace. This match was moving so fast, it was hard for me to keep up with and write a review for the match because of the pace was going back and forth. If I'm typing something, I'm missing what's going on in the match, and I appreciate it.
What were you going to say, Will?
The Ricochet Will Ospreay match for night 2 was phenomenal. I actually enjoyed their match this year way better than last year, not because there was less flippy shit. It's because you could tell they took time and was like, hey, we're going to do our stuff and we're going to get our shit in, but just to prove to everybody that we can actually wrestle, we're going to wrestle.
They had a Vader match. They went out there and had a match for Vader.
Yeah, it's really hard to raise the stakes from what they did last year, and it wasn't a rehashing of what they did. And then again, there were some callbacks to their match last year, but it wasn't a rehashing and it wasn't a fresh new match. It was something in between.
There was a lot more mat technique, and there was a lot more. There was more variety in today's match than there was last year. It appealed to a lot more people than last year's flippy dippy shit did.
Hashtag dive. But go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I was going to say that they didn't do anything different last year, except for the fact that there was way more wrestling, and there wasn't as many aerial flippy combos and spots as I think there was last year. I enjoyed their match this year a lot more than I enjoyed last year's match. The biggest surprise for me, I think the biggest surprise for me so far between the first 2 nights has been the gradual aggression of Jushin Liger.
It's the last one.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, he was happy and stuff, but, like, when he was facing Takahashi, it was like, as soon as the bell rang, bam. I can't wait to see, like, how angry he's going to get as the tournament, progresses.
This was Angry Liger, and he took to Hiromu on the floor, gave him a brainbuster on the floor. Hiromu tried to get the mask off, but he, unlaced it, but couldn't get it off, and I was kind of hoping, I'm like, oh, please let him rip that mask off and have him have the Kishin Liger face paint on underneath that.
That's what I was thinking, too, is like, are we going to get that this tournament?
That would have been so
Is there a
badass.
chance we're going to get it?
Maybe that'll be the swan song at the end since this is his last tournament ever. Maybe we'll get that on the last night he wrestles.
Maybe, who knows?
This was a match where I thought Liger could win this, up until the very end where Hiromu hit him with the time bomb just almost out of nowhere. And it was like, wow.
Is that going to become a thing now? Time bomb out of nowhere.
It wasn't quite, it's not quite like an RKO out of nowhere. He got a little offense in to set it up, but, it had been all Liger up to that point. Although, what I'm really impressed with from night 2 was how Marty Scurll adapted to wrestling the lucha style of Dragon Lee, and how Marty Scurll was able to sell Dragon Lee's lucha-based offense without it looking campy or corny or contrived or fake. It had a great pace to it. It had really good cohesion to it, and I don't know if Marty has worked in lucha feds or with lucha guys before, but this clash of styles just meshed so well today.
Can I say that Dragon Lee is a fucking star? Like, if I was Vince McMahon or Triple H, and I have luchas on my show, that's the guy that I want to have on my show. And not even so much to say that he's better than anybody else they have in WWE as far as ability. This guy looks like $1 million fucking dollars. Excuse my language, Stevie J. I'm sorry. Like,
no, it's all right.
You can put him on the poster, and my grandmother will come to the show and she'll buy his poster because this guy because his body looks that good.
And he's 22.
And he's young, he's athletic, he's a great looking guy. Well, I'm assuming he's a great looking guy. He can work. Like, that's money in the bank right there. And I wouldn't be too surprised if he's going to be on the Indies or not signed to WWE he's going to be signed to WWE pretty quick.
Well, they managed to snatch up the last luchador that spent some extended period of time in New Japan in Mascara Dorada.
Poor Dorada.
Gran Metalik now, and he's not doing much. But if they do get Dragon Lee, I would hope they would do more with him than they do with Gran Metalik, because Dragon Lee is insane. Of course, he had a great match with Hiromu on the first night, because anytime that Dragon Lee and Hiromu get in the ring, it's just beautiful, beautiful murder.
Well, they've been feuding for years. That started down when Hiromu was on his
when he was
excursion in CMLL. Yeah.
This is like match number 145 between them, and they're all good.
Mm-hmm.
They were beating the piss out of each other, man. Like that whole chop phase, that whole chop spot at the beginning reminded me of Masawa and Kenta Kobashi and stuff. Back in the day, so like 20 years ago, I was like, there's no way I would let somebody, as a wrestler right now, 270 pounds, I'm not taking that many shots in a row for that long. There's no way.
Like a good solid minute of back, like straight up, legit, like a minute back and forth of just straight shots to start the match off. That's how the match opened.
And and if somebody
that match last night was tame compared to the match they had at New Beginning in Osaka. They damn near killed each other at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's a free match out on YouTube, so if anybody wants to go see the New Beginning in Osaka match between Dragon Lee and Takahashi. Yeah, I mean, within the first 3 minutes, we were wondering, oh, God, are they going to make it out of here alive?
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I'm just speaking as a wrestler. Like, if somebody was to mention, hey, man, if somebody was to just come up and say, hey, look, I'm thinking like the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, we'll just beat the piss out of each other with these stiff-ass fucking chops and chests and slaps. I'm going to look at them like they're crazy. And I'm like, look, the minute you chop me, I'm going to kick you in the nuts, and the match is over. I'm walking to the back. Like, I got shit to do tomorrow. Like, this whole tournament's going to last like 2 weeks, and you're trying to kill me on day one. No, not doing it. Not doing it at all. Sorry.
So we're not going to see Will Huckabee versus Marufuji anytime in the future?
Not at all. No, we can do it, but he can chop me once, and I'm going to throw him in the eye. It's like finger to the eye, bam. You can stop that right now. Not taking those. I mean, they were just beating the piss out of each other, and these are smaller guys. So you can imagine if they weighed, 225, 230, how bad they'd be hurting people, man. I mean, those shits just sounded so painful.
And this is like what Stevie was talking about earlier with familiarity breeds contempt. It's like the more these guys wrestle each other, the more I think these guys really legitimately want to kill each other.
Can I ask a question? Why is David Finlay in New Japan? Let's just go ahead and ask.
Why does David Finlay wear guy liner and leopard panties?
Like, why? Why? Just I don't like him, and I don't know him as a person, so I can't say I don't like him. I don't like his wrestling persona. I don't think that he added anything to that 6-man tag match whatsoever, which
I
is
like him as a
obvious.
young lion, but I don't like his post-young lion stuff.
I didn't like him as a young lion.
He still hasn't found his niche yet. He's still growing as a young man, so let's give him some time.
Well, I'm just saying, when he was a young lion and he was teaming up with, what's his name, Jay White, everybody was focusing on Finley. Oh, he's the son of Fit Finley. And I was sitting there watching the tag matches like, no, this Jay White kid is way better than he is by leaps and bounds. Like, this guy, I just wrestled this guy. Like, I just wrestled Finley like 2 weeks ago in fucking Princeton, West Virginia. Like, he's no better than like a million guys in the Indies in America right now. Like, why are they focusing so much on him because of who his dad is? Like, I put him in the same category as Cody Hall. Could be, not as.
No, he's better than Cody.
But I'm saying he's in the same category as famous father, gonna get his foot in the door because of his name, but would never live up to that hype.
I still say the verdict's out on Finley. He's got a lot of time to become great.
Yes.
And you never know. Like a guy like C.J. Parker comes into New Japan, changes his name to Juice Robinson, and he's getting pushed now. He's getting over. You had that feud with Naito going, so I mean, maybe with a little twinge here, a little tweak there, Finley can catch fire, but he's certainly not going to do it with Guy Liner and Leopard Pants.
Or in 6-man tags like this one.
Did anybody else laugh when Juice Robinson's hair hit Kushida in the face?
Yes.
And Kushida fell down, and it was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, take a bump for the hair. Why not?
Like, I saw that and was like, what in the hell just happened? It was like, oh, he was slinging his hair and hit him in the eye. Okay. But I thought that was a really funny little unintentional comedy spot at the beginning of the match.
They should make an animated GIF of that and send it to...
They did, and Juice tweeted out an animated GIF of that saying, "Who's a dumbass?" Yeah, he's just kind of getting into a pose, and his hair goes back, and just wham, it's Kushida right in the eye.
But I was going even further than that. I was going to send it to Willow Smith and go, I'll whip my hair back and forth, I'll whip my hair back and forth.
We didn't have you on before, Will, but one thing that I have noticed, it's like I'm really high on Block A, and I'm kind of meh on Block B. What are your thoughts on Block A versus Block B?
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's like I'm really excited for a lot of the potential for a lot of the matchups in Block A. I don't think that the talent was distributed evenly this year.
They always do it.
I hate to say it, but it's like Block A is Raw and Block B is SmackDown. And the talent in Block B is going to have to try twice as hard to get the notoriety and the attention that Block A is getting because Block A has all the stars.
Yeah, there's one guy in Block B who's impressed me so far, and that's ACH. But
they always do that with the blocks. One block is always stacked a hell of a lot more than the other block is. Always.
Well, ACH, like I said, ACH is capable of doing. I don't know. Do you guys if y'all follow ACH or whatever?
Been following ever since I saw him at PWG in Reseda like 4 years ago. I've been in love with the guy's work.
Like he's capable of doing so much more than what he's showing right now. I think he's just really pacing himself. Because, they have another, 10, 12, 15, 33 days left. I think he's really pacing himself, and as, things progress, he'll start, doing more and more. I was kind of disturbed that there was no, guardrails at this show. I was really disturbed about that for some reason.
That's a New Japan thing.
Made it easier for Liger to hit that brain buster on the outside of the ring with no guardrail there to have to vault over.
That's what the young lions are there for. They run to stand in front of the crowd when they start to fly over the ropes. That way they take the brunt of it in the crowd.
The young lions are the guardrail.
So I had to explain to my wife, I was watching New Japan and stuff. My wife is in the room with me while I'm watching it and stuff. And I have it on full blast because I'm an asshole. And whenever I'm watching and listening to it, she has to also. So, it starts off with a Young Lions match. And my wife immediately asked, she's like, why is everybody wearing the same thing except for the one guy in the mask? And I was like, oh, they're all like what they call young lions. They're all like trainees and stuff. And she was like, where the hell are their knee pads at? I don't think they let them wear knee pads, really. She's like, well, that's just stupid.
They don't need no stinking knee pads.
She's like, they're gonna blow their knees out. And then she made my wife is not really a wrestling fan, but she watches wrestling because her husband's a wrestler. She was like, I don't know his name. I just call him a hefty fucking young lion. I just call him a hefty Japanese guy, Bolo. You know which one I'm talking about? The real jacked up one. The real jacked up one.
Kitamura.
You know. Okay, I'm being culturally insensitive. I'll just call him Bolo. Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The jacked up young lion, Kitamura, yeah.
Yes. It's like, it's him, and then it's the old man-looking young lion.
Yeah,
that's the undercover Uncle Oka.
Yeah, Oka, the 45-year-old young lion.
Yes, the old young lion. She was like, why is he bumping for him? And I was like, what? She's like, do they not teach psychology? She's like, why? She's like, he's huge. Why is he bumping for everybody in the ring? And I was like, I don't know. I think they just tell them to bump. Like, and they don't give a shit about psychology. She's like, is everybody going to do the same moves? I only think they give them like 3 moves to do, baby. That's it. Body slam, Boston Crab, headlock.
Crab,
like, that's
the
all
single leg crab with the leg over the guy's neck. Yeah.
The dojo in New Japan is very simple and very hardcore. You learn the hard way. You're there as basically a maid, a janitor, a cook, a trainee, a slave, a gopher, a driver, a luggage carrier. I mean, you are there to do everything for the veterans, and in return for that, you get to learn how to wrestle. And if you do it properly and learn it properly, you move up the ranks, you graduate from the dojo, you go on an excursion to learn another style somewhere else, and if you're good at that, then you come back and become like Takahashi, who is now a star.
Right. You pay your dues, you earn your way up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You earn your way up. It's not like NXT or, OVW or FCW where they used to be. You go in and you clean the mats, you clean the dojo, you scrub the toilets, you cook the food, you do the laundry, you carry the luggage, all of that. And for doing that, you get a room in the dojo, which is literally a very tiny room, and maybe the opportunity to learn how to wrestle from these men who have made it their life's work and art.
Well, I understand. I know all of that, Abby. I know what the dojo is like. I'm just wondering, I'm watching that match and stuff for the Young Lions, and me, myself, I could never, I think it's bad. I think it's a bad idea to put that many greenhorns in one match together with really no veteran invited. You have one vet in the entire match, and then the rest of it all these young lions and stuff. Like, you need to have guys that have them mix it up with the vets and stuff to at least know how to do ring psychology and learn while they're working in the ring.
That's what they do at the dojo, and what they do is they move up. But yet to start off with, they work with each other, and that's it. That's how they learn.
You notice Tiger Mask wasn't interjected into this match much at all. This was pretty much the Young Lions, the Black Trunks Brigade going at it.
See, but you don't learn, and once again, speaking as a wrestler, you don't learn or get better working with the same guys you train with. You can't teach each other anything besides this guy doesn't know how to do a body slam correctly, so I'm not going to let him body slam me. You have to work with guys and be in matches with guys who have that experience. And I thought they were doing a really good job with that, mixing old man Young Lion and Bolo Young Lion and these 6-mans and stuff. And on all these other shows and stuff. And then for some reason, I just really felt like they dropped the ball with this match.
Well, the thing is, this was Umino's, who is Red Shoes' son. This was, I think, his 4th match. Yagi, this was his 2nd match. Yeah, he debuted on the last Lionsgate show.
Oh, okay.
Kitamura and Oka have been around for a little while. Kawato, he's been around for a while. And then Tiger Mask. But the thing is, they start off working with each other, and then probably a month or 2 down the road, you'll see them having one-on-one matches with each other. Another month or 2 down the road, you'll see them in 6-man matches with the veterans. Another month, and they have the Lionsgate shows now every month where it's the young lions against the veterans. So they do those shows once a month, but it's the system and how it's always been done. It's a process of steps. Y'all work together, then y'all work with a veteran, then y'all work with more than one, and it's just a process of moving up the food chain until you graduate from being a young lion into an actual wrestler.
And we can say it doesn't work if you tried that system here in North America.
Hell no, it wouldn't work.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but Japan is Japan because Japan, and that's just the way they've built it up over the years.
Respect.
This was
and
also
tradition.
the opening match of the card, too. It's something not to read too much into.
That's true.
And the fans love it. They love to watch these kids come in and start and develop. And if you listen to the fans, they really get behind their favorite young lions. They'll have banners for them up in in Corkin, and they really get behind them and really like them. And it's just a way for them to get out there and get comfortable in front of crowds without having to be tossed into the deep end of the shark pool. It's a redundant way to do things, but it's also a smart way, in a way, to do things.
Just won't work here.
Oh, hell no.
I'm just too Americanized.
There was one more thing I wanted to touch on from today's show, and that's Naito finally managed to break the Intercontinental title.
That was the master plan all along, damn it. That's what he's been trying to do.
He just chucked that thing against the steps a couple times and kicked it. And
the ring post a couple times.
Yeah. The Young Lions had to take the timekeeper's mallet and pound on the back of the belt to try to
put it back together.
It was like they're beating a carden out from the other side.
Naito's thought process was, damn it, Kadani, you're going to take some fucking money and make this thing look good again. Shinsuke completely ruined it, and I don't want all these, whatever this bodily fluid shit is, and I want a new damn belt, so get me a new belt.
What does that
of course,
say about
Elgin did tell me that it wasn't. Elgin told me that it wasn't that the leather was dirty, it was a black belt painted white. So that's why it looks gray and nasty and dingy, is because the paint's flaking off of it.
Well, there's your problem. Yeah, get an actual white leather belt this time.
There you go.
But yeah, it was fun to see Naito finally get that title belt to break.
Master plan accomplished.
Mission accomplished. That's... I'm trying to see if there's anything else from night one that I wanted to cover, but I think we went over most of what I had wanted to cover from that.
Team villain.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the crowd getting into that with a whoop whoop.
Milano doing it though, that was the best part of it.
That was great.
The announcers doing it by the end of the matches.
Yes, Abby, didn't you say your dog started reacting to that every time they did it?
Today she was cocking her head the first show with the whoop whoop, and today I got home from work and I was watching it, and he came out, and the first whoop whoop she went, and the second one it was, the third one it was, and then she started barking every time. I was like, I'm gonna, if you keep doing this, I'm gonna kill you by the end of Best of Super Juniors, because we got 2 more weeks. Every damn day for 2 weeks. It's just not gonna fly.
Well, we do have a day off tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
You come back Saturday.
I need it because I got to cover Bellator. I can't stay up every single night. I got to take one night off.
Well, no, the next live show is Monday. Saturdays and Sundays are going to be tape delayed.
Yeah,
we'll just get the tournament matches in the probably early evening, around 6 or so. Yeah,
Bushi Desperado on Saturday. That one kind of intrigues me. I mean, it's B block, so it's kind of eh. And yeah, maybe ACH and Kanemaru. I'm just not that big on Kanemaru at all.
Well, he slid. I'm still trying to figure out how he slithered his ass in the back door of New Japan when Suzuki-gun came back.
I was going to ask, when the hell did he come from? How was he even in this whole thing?
He was a Noah guy that joined up with Suzuki-gun when they went there, and he'd been a lifelong Noah guy. And when Suzuki-gun came back to New Japan after Noah got purchased by another company and Bushi Road removed their interest in Noah, I think Kanemaru just hid in somebody's bag and came in, and I'm seriously not sure that Kadani or Gato even know he's there yet. I'm just waiting for the day when they wake up and say, where the fuck did you come from? Who the hell let you in the back damn door? Take your ass back home and send us Marufuji.
I will say, like,
maybe they stole him to pay the debt back that Pro Wrestling Noah owes him. I don't know, but